What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video today. And honestly, we're just going to be talking about Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm expecting to talk about this game a lot in the next couple weeks. The release date is January 29th, and I'm beyond fucking excited. So, if you haven't followed me yet on Twitch, if you look in the description below, the link to my Twitch should be right there. And I'll be Twitch streaming that game starting at midnight the night it comes out. And probably streaming the entire game over the next week. Probably the next week. Don't be surprised if I finish it in 3 days. But today we're looking at some moments from the newest trailer that caught my attention. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into this. We're going to start with this first shot I took. We have Xehanort and what appears to be Kingdom Hearts being completely... What's the word I'm looking for here? Engulfed in darkness, I guess would be the correct term. This seems to be Xehanort winning the battle and completely taking Kingdom Hearts over in darkness. Which is kind of why I think you see Sora feel defeated towards the end of the trailer. And maybe this is what causes them to go to that new world that we see at the end of the trailer. Possibly. Maybe this is what he had to do to open a gateway to that world. Because for some reason we've never been there before, which this would make sense if that was it. Next, I wanted to talk about this screenshot right here. I took this because just to show off that there are 13 of these spikes, right? 13. So, if all 13 vessels were there, we'd assume that all 13 would be on these spikes. Now, going into my next screenshot, we see a few people standing on the spikes. But most of the spikes are empty. We only have 5 spikes with people on them. 4 in this screenshot. And then in the next shot, we have one other one. So, but I went ahead and named everyone on them because it's obvious who they are when you look at them. You have Marluxia, Larxene, Demyx, Luxord, and Vexen. Yeah, I said Luxord. It's probably Luxord, but honestly, no one knows how to say that. I can't ever say that correctly. These are the 5 old members that we've seen besides Saïx. Because Saïx has been with Ansem, Xemnas, Xehanort, all of them the entire time. We've never seen these 5 interact with those characters yet. Which makes me almost think they're not vessels for Xehanort. Because they're here by themselves. This makes me feel like they came here either before or after Xehanort brought all his vessels here. Making me feel like these guys are on their own agenda. Like they're not working for Xehanort and planning to be vessels. Unless maybe they get defeated trying to fight off Xehanort and become vessels against their will. Which is possible. I could definitely see that being why there's the 5 of them would be 13 darknesses. But I don't know. I can't see Demyx, of all of them, especially Demyx. That's the one I can't see the least, being so down to be a vessel of darkness for Xehanort. That's just me. I don't feel like I could see that. That's why I think this shot's interesting, because you see just these 5 by themselves. In my opinion, that makes me feel like that they're kind of on their own thing. They're doing their own thing, and because Marluxia never really was for the organization, because he tried to backstab them, him, Larxene, and the others from Castle Oblivion. So they wanted their own agenda away from the organization. But Marluxia especially led that, which makes me feel like, why would Marluxia just give in and become a vessel for Xehanort, just like it was nothing? That's why I feel like these 5 are on their own agenda together, apart from the organization. Because when you see in the trailer, it spins around, all the other spikes are empty at the time. The next thing I want to talk about is this dark scene, which obviously is in Toy Story. It's that world, but the thing is, what is this? This caught my attention just simply because I don't understand what's going on here. Because right before this, you see Buzz Lightyear taken off in the darkness. But what is going on? Where could this possibly be in that world? This was just interesting. I didn't have much to say about this part. It just caught my attention because I have no idea what's going on. Next, we have the confirmation that Ratatouille and Scrooge McDuck are going to be centered in Twilight Town. It's shown here by the accessory shop. It's usually like towards the middle of Twilight Town. You can't really do much when you're Roxas with it, but once you take over Sora in 2 and come back to Twilight Town, you can buy accessories, armor, items, things like that. So I just noticed it out of the corner of my eye in that trailer, which I think most people had assumed those 2 are going to be centered in Twilight Town this time. But I don't know. This was a good confirmation for me knowing it. You can kind of tell from all the brick walls, the scenery, even the people kind of scream Twilight Town. So I could definitely see this being the confirmation of it. Next is just a confirmation we're playing as Riku. I think everyone kind of knew this going into the game, but this was so happy for me. I was ecstatic when they finally showed this off. But the other thing I want to notice about this picture is when we look closely, the health bar for this Tower Heartless, which granted these probably aren't huge bosses in the game with tons of health. These are probably more mini bosses, but it only has 5 bars of health. Which I know we're going to fight Aqua and maybe some other things here, and I'd expect their health to be more, but this seems early in the game to only be at 5. Because, I mean, Kingdom Hearts 2, early in the games, you're already sitting at like 3-4 bars health in the first world or two. Like, the health system is way bigger in Kingdom Hearts 2. Like, granted, you go through those health bars quicker, but everything has more health bars in 2. So that makes me think that's, going by that knowledge, I'd say this is pretty early in 3. So this might be one of the first things you do. Next is just the screenshot of Xion we got in the trailer. Axel remembering Xion, which, that makes me wonder a lot, especially going into these next couple screenshots we get. This one, of course, comes to mind. Saix seems to be talking to the newest member, the final vessel they grabbed. Or, well, 12th vessel. His job is to get the 13th vessel. Or her job. Because everyone assumes this is Roxas, which is possible. But I actually think it's probably Xion, because he said, bringing you back into the organization. Or into their ranks. But why? How would Roxas be brought back into their ranks in the first place? I know that Sora's trying to bring Roxas back and give him his own body, but at the same time, how would the organization get Roxas? Which makes me feel like this has to be Xion. A lot of it has to do with that last screenshot, probably, but I feel like this has to be. I mean, Xion and Roxas kind of always had the same figure, almost. Like when they were hooded and you were only seeing their jaw, you probably couldn't tell which one was which. They're both relatively short, slender, so it's possible. And of course, Cherrim shows up. This is mainly a callback to back cover. It was cool seeing Cherrim. Yeah, this is just showing off the fact that wherever this world is, which I think is the transition between the last 2 worlds of the game, the Keyblade Graveyard, and that final world that Xehanort's sitting at. Granted, that's my opinion. I think that's the last world in the game. So I think this is like the transitionary world between them. It's mostly cutscene. We've seen a little bit of gameplay, so you can do a little bit of stuff there, but I feel like this is the transition in between. This is where you'll meet Cherrim, and I feel like Cherrim's going to give Sora kind of the idea on how to defeat Xehanort, and how to bring back the other Keyblade wielders, things like that. So I think that's his place in this game and why he's here. Because you might even run into all the defeated Keyblade wielders from the war, all the early foretellers, all those characters. You might see those characters in this world. Just thoughts. Next we have a look at Ansem the Wise. Just honestly a confirmation that he comes back from the world of darkness, where Aqua was as well. So maybe when they go to find Aqua, find evil Aqua instead, and then they come across him and bring him out back into the real world. Which, granted, I think we all knew he was coming back already, but I don't know. Possibly this is confirmation. It's probably not completely confirmation, but it's just a nice screenshot. What was next? Next we have, this is a good one. Nordit Riku. Not regular Riku. Either copy Riku, data Riku, whatever version of Riku this is. Which I honestly believe it's copy Riku from Chain of Memories. Just makes the most sense. I don't feel like data Riku would be doing any of this. I went ahead and highlighted it because his eye looks Nordit. It definitely is Nordit. It's yellow. So this makes me believe that this is one of our 13 vessels. Now for sure, as a fact, this character is going to be one of the 13 vessels to me. So, of course, this scene just looked badass, in all honesty. Like, when I saw this fight in the trailer, I was like, oh, that's going to be a really dope part. I feel like this is going to be one of the chunks where you're playing as Riku. But, because on the other side of the Keyblade is Ansem standing there, which makes me feel like Riku's been following Ansem and runs in the copycat Riku here. But, that's just me. That's what I think. Just all merely speculation. Wow, that was hard to say. But that's kind of what I've noticed. I have a feeling he's probably one of our 13 Sinkers of Darkness now. This is just a screenshot showing off what I believe to be Xion once again. I don't think it's Roxas. It's possible, but Xion was more of the hood straight down to her chin, like not chin, nose area, the whole game. So that wasn't really Roxas's thing. And we see Xemnas in the background, which makes me feel like this is after he's done almost completely defeated Axel, Lee, whatever you'd like to call him. So I think this is where they pull out Xion and just like, no. Xion's on our side. Now you remember her. Because it's weird because she's wiped from everyone's memory, so how would Axel randomly remember in that scene if she wasn't brought back to life like in 2 when Sora awoke? Everybody remembered Sora magically. So maybe that's what's happening here. Next is from the scene I was just talking about, where Axel's being taken down by Xemnas. See Saïx completely controlled by darkness. So I think Isa, Saïx, whatever you'd like to call him, the real human version of Saïx, tried to betray the organization, but was completely subdued by darkness for trying to basically escape and go help Axel or Lee and join up with him. I think they completely overtook him in darkness to get rid of that entire fight. Kind of like Terra when Terra was taken over by darkness. But I feel like Saïx is completely overpowered, unlike Terra was. We get a first shot of Ventus in Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, we have not seen Ventus in any trailers till now, because this is for sure Ventus, not Roxas. He's still not awoken, you can tell. He's still knocked out. He's completely out cold. My friend here is just done. I'm guessing Sora hasn't figured out how to awaken his heart, and now they're being attacked by the 13 Seekers of Darkness. So for some reason, not really sure why he would be here, they brought Ventus here. Not exactly sure as to why they would have done that. Next scene's just the Mickey being sucked into the card, which, just noticing the background, somehow Luxord has found a way to subdue his opponent. So this will probably be the startup to a Luxord boss fight, which once again, I don't know why Luxord would be in this general vicinity during the final battle before at the Keyblade Graveyard if he's not working with them. Unless, like I said earlier, they all get taken down and basically subdued by darkness and become evil again in vessels for Xehanort. Next is just that final shot we got of all 13 darknesses. I believe it's 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, there's 12 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, it's 12. Okay, so, of course, Xehanort's 13. I don't know why, I just had to think about that so much. But this is probably the last world of the game, like I've said, which was originally Cable Town in the old trailer they released that didn't go public back in like 2014-ish. This is that world, which makes me feel like this is definitely going to be the last world of the game. This is where your final fight's going to take place, I believe. And all this armor they're wearing has me feeling like that's what's happening. Because I feel like Xehanort has managed to put himself in all 13 vessels. So now they're armored up, purely powered by darkness. But I might be wrong. Maybe this is part of a ceremony to make them all vessels for him. But we don't really know yet. We're just kind of speculating things at this point. But I'm just going to say this armor looks sick. This is doper than shit. And then I think the final screenshot we have is just that final world. Like, a lot of things are pointing towards this being the final world you fight in the game. I'm going to keep calling it the final world because I honestly believe this will be the last world we see. This will be where the final boss fight with Xehanort takes place. Whether or not you get your 7 versus 13 in a big interactive boss fight where you switch hands, which would, I'm just saying, be a great idea and they should do it. But if they decide to do that, or whether it's just Sora taking on Xehanort, possibly getting to play as Riku at the same time. The other thing I noticed about this world specifically is right here at the top we have what seems to be the center pillar, right? This is, to me, Eraqus's home. If you tilt it upside down, that's exactly what this looks like. So I almost have a feeling the land of departure was part of this world and then got broken off and became its own place, and while this was completely taken down by darkness. That's why I feel like when Xehanort's possessing Kingdom Hearts with darkness, that's how he triggered an adventure to this world to end the game on. But it's just, if you combine little bits of the trailer, that's what I came up with. So, I don't know though. This could not be anything to do with the land of departure for all I know. But to me, that's what it looks like. Because that middle tower specifically is just screaming Eraqus's home at me. Honestly, this could even be the place where the chess game we keep seeing at the beginning of most of the first few trailers. Everyone keeps thinking that's land of departure, but that could be this world for all we know. And that's what I kind of believe at this point. I believe this is the original world where Xehanort and Eraqus became Keyblade Masters. So, that is kind of what I'm thinking. This trailer was crazy. It gave us all kinds of new footage, but that's just the main parts that piqued my interest. That wasn't all my favorite parts, granted. We have the Donald going down in a sacrifice. We had almost everything from that entire last half of the trailer was just insane. We got a lot of new gameplay. We saw Stitch be used for the first time. I mean, there was tons of new stuff in that trailer, but these are just the main story aspects, I'll say, that piqued my interests. If you guys want to write in the comments your thoughts on any of these parts, or give me an idea about anything I said, or you have something to add on to what I said, write it in the comments. I'd like to hear it. Start a discussion about it. Anyways, if you guys like this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to see more Kingdom Hearts 3 videos, make sure you hit subscribe, because there's going to be a lot coming out in the next month, along with a full playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 3 when it comes out. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. You guys have a wonderful day.